All right, here we go. Again, more details. So, where to start? So, how this whole experience began for me, kind of in discovering what happened, was when I was around 10 years old. I remember having a nightmare and just waking up and just remembering that this nightmare was so horrifically terrifying. I couldn't think, I couldn't move, I couldn't do anything. And I just instantly said to myself, I want to forget, I want to forget, I want to forget, I want to forget. And I remember that kind of anxiety lasted for like 3 days. And then by the end of the third day, like I couldn't remember anything from it. And I was like, that's good. That's good. I don't know what I forgot, but I remember I wanted to forget and I forgot, and that's good. And apparently, this other guy called Randy Kramer, who is a secret space program experiencer, and he said that quality is a very common aspect. And the part of the reason why they abduct young children is because of this memory thing. It's also because they want to harvest, they want to utilize the potential of children, and children are so moldable, you know. They have psychic potential. I also remember around that time I was having like dreams of like teleportation, but they felt like extremely real, and like I was teleporting places. And I was absolutely adamant when I was like in grade 1 that I could move the glue stick on my desk with my mind. And it's so amazing to see on Instagram how many people are literally doing telekinesis now. It's like real telekinesis, like pinwheels in sealed glass jars. You know, you can't really fake that. It's just incredible the potential that is waking up in this field of consciousness that we are now in. Yeah. So the memory wipe of these experiences began then, because I did it to myself essentially. And this is what Randy Kramer talks about. Randy Kramer, Rebecca Rose, and Tony Rodriguez are really really scintillating, courageous people that have gone through very, very intense experiences and have evidences to vindicate, especially Tony Rodriguez. And Rebecca Rose has some good evidence. Yeah. So this is how the memory started for me. And after that experience at 10 years old, like I couldn't go to bed without my parents being awake. I just couldn't do it. And that went all the way up until I was like 14 or 15 or something. It was quite a long time actually. So that actually, interestingly, just to give some other context, like, so when I was 13, I realized that I was gay, that I liked men, but I couldn't like admit it to myself. And I was in this kind of self-denial all the way up until 18 or something like that. And I was always curious about why I made that choice as like a human, as like a child. Like, why did I choose to go into such self-hate? And in part, it's because I was already practicing self-repression with this memory and experience. So that was quite a thing. So the recall of these experiences didn't actually happen until I was 30. And universe had kind of set up, I don't know how to say, set up, it initiated me into what I needed to know to be able to handle this information. And that started at the end of 2020, during the COVID lockdowns. I had smuggled myself out of New South Wales, which was illegal at the time, and caught a plane from Queensland to Adelaide, because I couldn't do that from New South Wales to South Australia. And no one was wearing masks at the airport. I land in Adelaide, I didn't wear a mask, and I had the mask around my around my neck. I didn't check in like I was supposed to, because because I had not seen any evidence that COVID was proven to kill people that died with COVID. And there were a couple of court cases in Canada and London that won, court cases saying that the COVID didn't kill these people, that they died with comorbidities or, and it's just a technicality, right? Like, to prove that someone died from COVID, you need to find the COVID in their lungs after they've died, right? To prove that that's the case, and that there's no evidence for that. And because there was no flatline factual evidence that COVID precisely is killing people, people that had a lot of comorbidities and the chest infections. There was no evidence for that, and people did get sick and people did die, but not because of the reason that COVID was talking about, right? Because they didn't die from the virus of it; they died from the shedding and the complete stress and overwhelm that the body. So it's a technical thing, right? And that I was curious in, and these court cases I saw, there was no certified evidence, and emergency orders have been made without evidence. And I was like, wow, that is quite unjust and quite not right. Because now we're serfs, and if there's no evidence to justify, there's no legal evidence to justify why emergency orders have been made, that is something completely different than an actual health crisis. So I didn't put on my mask because I didn't want to comply with, what was going on. And I got arrested at the airport, and they slammed me against the wall. And I could have just put the mask on and been done with it and wouldn't have gone through that. But there was also an eclipse on the stellium of my sun and other planets. I was very reactionary, blah, 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 blah. Long story short, I end up in the remand center. That my bail is denied because I didn't check in for quarantine. So they essentially quarantined me at the remand center for 2 weeks. And maybe this is too much detail, but when I was in the prison, I was just really asking my guides, and I had all these really strong visions of tall light beings that were, just before I left on my journey, they were kind of there watching over me, and I was like, oh fuck, something's going on right now. I'm at a turning point for something. And when I was in the prison cell, I was like, okay, what do I need to do energetically? Why is this happening? What do I need to learn? And what I needed to learn was love and forgiveness, because I attracted that situation because I was very righteous, very, very righteous, and angry at people's ignorance of what was occurring in the situation, which wasn't wise, it wasn't tactful, and in a way it's kind of selfish, because understandably everyone is scared. People didn't know what was going on, and they just wanted to be safe and protected. And that's a very important thing to acknowledge, and I wasn't acknowledging that. So in that sense, it's kind of justified, that they would abuse my rights in that sense. I don't agree with it. I don't think that's a very mature, wise thing to do, but it's just the situation and what it was, and I had to learn about love and forgiving that, because that's what I needed. And when I did that, I sat in meditation, and that really shifted something in my identity. And the court case went really well. I got out. And that, straight after that, unlocked memories, past life memories. Because I now had the capacity to love at a deeper level. And then all these things came up for me to start loving, past life memory and recall of things I needed to integrate. Around that time, I also had this really long, weird dream of this AI bomb that was going off, and there was this spoon that kept picking me and my car up and taking me back to the bomb, and I couldn't escape it. I had to defuse the bomb, which was kind of like an unstable gay teenage personality. I had to defuse it by saying I'd have sex with it, and then it had all these emojis, and it diffuses. Then the dream jumps to me in this super soldier body having this kind of romantic courting experience with this other person, which was really intense. And then it cuts to me on a spire above a pool of lava, and there's a volcano in the distance. There's this fish etheric being, and this fish etheric being like flies through me and my super soldier body, and there's a wizard with like a long beard, like a white beard to the right of me, and then I fall back and I fall into the lava, and then I'm in third person and I see this DNA helix coil of light just shoot up from the lava into the sky. Shortly after, I meet a person that later, which I'll maybe talk about in the next video, becomes, I start remembering that he and I went through parts of the secret space program together. So also around that time, I started discovering a shamanic energy healing modality technique called star magic healing. And so that kind of both of those things were really significant for me in this 3-year period of exploring these different facets of my mind. It was a year of unlocking past life memory, and each time I would encounter these aspects, it's like I would build an awareness of this kind of psychic space within me and these different aspects of my soul. The second year was about healing multidimensional wounds and karmas, and mapping out the different levels of dimensions, like the 6th, the 7th, the 8th, and then eventually the 9th. And then the year after that, and all through that process, I was slowly unlocking memories, experiences of bits of this, I don't know, secret space program thing. But it wasn't until that 3rd year where it really started coming on strong. And it came then because that 2 years of awareness development helped give context to why my soul wanted to experience that. So when I did start experiencing the intensity and the horrificness of that memory, I was actually prepared for it because I had expanded even more my capacity to love, and I could just put it all in a personal context of why I was experiencing that. Yes, yeah, the love lesson. So, so meeting this guy that I shared this experience with, this secret space program experience, was another lesson in love, and also like trauma bonding. Yeah, anyway, there's more to talk about that, but this is a long enough video, and that is it for this one. So, takapu tikipi tala tute en talalete. So much love to you. Yeah. Okay.